Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our new friend Kamourian King. We're here to break down Regnum, Antiquum, and everything in between. I think I almost got it right. Did I get it?
What, my name or the title? Because
the title.
It sounded good.
Let's go. I know we were talking backstage, and I thought I had it nailed, and then you said it, and I was like, oh my god, I was not even close.
I don't know. I never even looked at the official pronunciation. I'm like, oh, cool. It's Latin for this. This looks cool. This sounds cool.
You know, it's funny you say that too, because back in the day I used to write a lot when I was in school, and it was like world literature I was taking, and that was a class that I really got into. And like right when we got to like the Latin part of it, like I remember like using a lot of the names like in my writing without having any idea how to like say it properly, or like even if I could say it.
Mm-hmm.
We have Chris Moses over on Twitch joining us bright and early, keeping it geekly, the Go Indie Comic Show. I think nailing it right on the dot. Cam, welcome though. This is your first time on the show. How are you doing this morning?
I am bloody fantastic. I'm great. I woke up this morning. I have my crap together. I'm here. Yay. I'm alive.
Absolutely.
To bless everybody with my amazing art. Yeah, no, I'm not all that.
I think you are, though. This art is gorgeous. We actually have a first look at some of these pages that are going to be in the Kickstarter. So the images you see on the image slideshow to the left of us, right of us, it's one or the other. Those are all like some of the very first times these have been shown, and these are so gorgeous. And I cannot wait to break into how you took that from like a webcomic format to an actual like book. But before we do that, let's dive into who you are and how you got into creating comics.
Oh, I've always been a nerdy, crafty, weird kid. Yeah, you know, I grew up in the 90s where, you know, anime started to come in. There was a lot of cool, like 80s and 90s, like cartoons and stuff. I've always liked anime, manga, stuff like that. You know, a lot of cool stuff. I've always loved writing and creating, and of course I've always loved like drawing and stuff. So it was pretty natural. I joke all the time saying that I was born with a pencil in my hand. You know, it just always came naturally. I loved it. Art has always been a part of our family. My grandfather was a gorgeous painter, you know, and all other stuff. So it came really natural. And then, you know, I grew up, I've been having a really hard time like expressing what I was trying to write. I have a learning disability, so it was hard to put text and words on paper. And then I think my fourth grade teacher was like, hey, look at you, you know, you're doodling, you're trying to illustrate these stories. He handed me a comic book. Lordy, I wish I knew what it was. It wasn't anything super mainstream. It wasn't like Marvel or DC. It wasn't super mainstream, but I saw like panels. I saw sequential art for the first time, and I fell so hard for it. Really hard. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is so cool. So pure passion, pure love, pure drive. I had to do it. And since being a nerdy, weird kid, here I am today. Like, I have to do comics. I had to do it.
Real quick, we have Brendan Albetsky over on YouTube. Welcome to the stream. I took Latin in high school. You said it pretty much right. So I think we're nailing it off the start. Let's go. That's a good start. So I think it's interesting that you come from a family where art was a big priority, because, you know, when I was going through this on Global Comics, it's so hard to describe like how I feel like looking at this art, and it looks like it's painted on there. Like painted is like very like whimsical almost. Like the hair, it reminds me of like the old school statues from like Greek and Rome. Like you know what I mean? Yes. I love it so much. So what was some of your inspiration like going into this?
Mm-hmm. Definitely that. Well, actually it didn't dawn on me. A lot of people like, oh, the way you draw bodies are so statuesque, and, you know, a lot of Roman and Greek mythology, you know, statues, imagery, Christianity imagery, Art Nouveau. I was like, I guess. Like I said, I grew up liking a lot of anime and stuff, and a couple of my one of my biggest influences was Nakio Takenashi, who did Sailor Moon.
Okay.
Super influence on me. Her that's where a lot of it comes from, was a lot of that stuff. A little bit of Dragon Ball Z here, that gave me the first introduction of really amazing anatomy. So a lot of that stuff. But yeah, as I dive deeper into like, hey, I really like mythology and stuff, as I dived in deeper, I guess it's just all subconscious. Like I just took it and I applied it. I really didn't mean to do it, but that's just the way it is. That's how it came out.
We have Brendan over on YouTube. Can't be in the stream without saying how cool Cam's art is. Love the color schemes and the contours, just beautiful. I agree.
Yeah.
I think every time we talk, I tell you how much like I love your art and like how awesome it is. It's truly like such a unique style too. I don't think I've ever seen anything of this nature, the way you were able to take the colors and just use them as highlighting. Like on this page we're seeing right now with like the red, like the way you highlight with red in different colors, it's gorgeous.
It's color theory, baby. I'm serious. It is. It really is. You gotta be smart. You really do. If you're working in color, you've really got to be smart, especially if you're doing color comics. You gotta know it. You just gotta know it.
So when you got when you got into creating like the webcomic format, how did you get started with that? Because webcomic seems like it's its own type of like format and its own type of beast to learn, like the way to keep the reader's attention while they're scrolling and everything in between with that. So like, how did you get like involved with that and learn how to do that properly? Because it looks like you were just straight killing it with the webcomics. Like when I'm scrolling, it's hard for me to like stop. And then when it's like, hey, thanks for reading. See you next time. I'm like, no,
I need more. Well, that's the beauty of it, is cliffhangers. I grew up in a household where like my grandmother and my mom and everybody watches American soap operas, and they're cheesy and crappy, but they're really good at cliffhangers.
Yeah.
So that was probably something, in the back of my mind. Like I was introduced to it. I'm used to it. I know it. So I kind of get an idea of like, oh, leave it there. But webcomics, I've been drawing comics since I was a kid, and when I was getting more and more online, getting into art communities and groups, a lot of people have been uploading their comics, a couple pages per week. One person in particular that I really looked up to, and I can't believe I'm still friends with her to this day, her name is Mei Xing. And she uploaded, I would see her update every week. This is back in like 2006, 2007. I would see her update and upload it. It was just such an inspiration. I'm like, this is really cool, because, you're a little iffy, like a nerdy, fat, woman, trying to break into comics. I don't know. And I wasn't, and it felt like it's so saturated with like the stuff that I wasn't drawing or that I wasn't into. So online seems like, the right thing. And of course, doing that, I kind of struggled with printing. I printed 2 books back in like 2016. And I just never really found my voice when it came to print format. And around that time, I found out about Webtoon, like webtoon.com. And I saw like these gorgeous panels, like scrolling through, how easy it was to read on like your phone. And I was like, oh, this is such a cool format. So it just struck an interest. I went with it. I played around with it. I learned, and I really liked it. And it opened up a lot. I kind of found my voice a little bit with it. I'm not saying that I haven't before with printed, but it seemed really cool. And again, I'm for readership and accessibility. And that format makes it so easy for people to read on the computer, because I'm not the biggest fan of ebooks. I'm really not. Like, I don't have a Kindle anymore. I rather listen to audiobooks. I just find them really hard to zoom in and read the dialogue. I don't like doing that. So this format makes it easier. And that's what I wanted to do. Make it easy for people to read it. That's it.
So I gotta ask, I love Amadeus's hair. Like, what's with the hair? The hair is like so gorgeous and luscious. Maybe it's Maybelline. I'm not sure. I love the way you play with it too when you're scrolling, and like the hair like will lead into like the panels below.
Yeah.
What was some of your inspiration for having him have such like beautiful locks?
Sailor Moon. I'm serious. Nakio Takeneshi. If you look at her manga. You'll see it. You'll see it. You'll read that manga, or people who have seen that manga, they'll be like, yeah, I see the influence. I really do. I don't know. I've always been a thing for hair. Long hair is so expressive. And when you are working in a medium that is static and you have to express movement, long hair is it. I have characters with short hair, and I tell you how boring that is.
Wow.
It can't flow nice. It can't flow nicely in the wind. I mean, not as nice as super long. I don't know. I just like super long hair. It's fun to draw. It's very expressive. That's it.
So give us a little bit about Amadeus, though. Just like outside of the hair, even that.
What is he?
like a god among mortals, right?
He is. I'll spill it. It's not super spoily. A lot of people are like, who know me and know my content and can obviously see the dude. Like, yeah, he looks way different. This story and a bunch of other stories that come after it. This is an introduction to a bunch of other stories. There's a bunch of different realms or worlds within the story, and the mortal realm is where it showcases like someone among humans, how like I'm not saying how boring, but how ordained it is, and how, I don't want to say simple either, but just like nice and peaceful it can be. Amadeus, he comes from a realm where a lot of like the sins of these mortals and a lot of other people from other realms like gather, and they manifest into these demonic creatures called corrupt, which you started to see in the comic, and you see me drawing in other stuff too. So that's what I did. But then one day, for some reason, probably the goodness of a bunch of other people, one day suddenly he appears out of pure goodness, and all the corrupt are like, okay, he's different, and then they start to treasure him, they start to lust after him, until they figure out how powerful he really is and what his power can do for them. And they're like, oh, okay, we're going to take it. We're going to take his power, and we are going to finally conquer everything. And Amadeus was like, no. He escapes, and he comes to the mortal realm where he can kind of just settle down and be a normal person and not really be, even though he is, but he could just relax and be like a normal person and settle down and not be so sought after, and just be important for other reasons. And all crap breaks loose. They come to the mortal realm, and it's like he's like, oh no, why are they here? And he thinks it might be because of him and what happened, and they're after him. So we'll see how that turns out.
So how long have you been working on this for? Like since the creation of it?
Well, the concept has been around for years. Like this story has always been like almost like a prequel like an introductory, like, oh, this is what happened, and this is because of this, that this is why this story happened. I never really dived into his character much. Like, he wasn't like pretty much a physical character, not really too much. And then the beginning of the year, I'm like, I really want to draw this. Like, I had some cool ideas. I really wanted to draw it. I wanted something short, something not simple, but something short.
Yeah.
And I kind of had it. I kind of had it on the back burner. And then I think back in like April or May, Webtoon announced their latest call to action contest. And I'm like, oh, bing!
Let's
go. I got a story. Let's go. That lit a fire under my
So this has all been like from this year, like all this artwork?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I unfortunately feel so slow though. I really do. And unfortunately that competition asked a lot of you. And for my own sanity, I dropped out, and I'm really glad that I did, because it allowed me to explore Amadeus's backstory. Like, before, I didn't really have much of a backstory for him, and some of the text, some of the dialogue in the beginning couple of parts really showed it. And I'm kind of fixing it as I go from print, now that everyone is like, okay, now I know exactly what he is, what he's doing, what's going on with this story. It was all because I decided to drop out of that contest. So it got better.
Blessing in disguise, though, right? We have Lee Newman over on YouTube stopping in to say this book is so beautiful with a bunch of claps, and that's what we've been saying this whole entire stream. Like, I just love this art. Now, speaking of book, though, this is a webcomic. How has the transition from webcomic to print format been for you? Because I know that I've seen you on Twitter talking about it, but now that we're actually face to face, you know, that seems like it's a pretty big feat.
Do you know how to play Tetris? That's it. That's it. Have you ever gone grocery shopping and then figure out that you don't have enough room in your fridge for everything? That's what it kind of feels like. You got just so much space. Like, that's what's amazing about the vertical scroll, is that you're not confined, you know, too much to a single box, you know. So it's just taking those panels and rearranging them to make it A, look good, and B, keep the pacing, and C, making sure I keep my own voice as a creator. So I'm learning a lot as I do it, and it's getting a little easier. The first couple pages, I was like, oh my God, this is really hard. Why am I a psycho? Why am I doing this? But as I keep going, I'm like, oh, I'm really liking these pages. Like, oh my gosh, look at this. Like, how this is floating and stuff. And it's trying not to redraw a lot of the panels to make them float more, or to make them bigger, or to fit in any way. And that's been the biggest struggle, is just making it look good, keeping the pacing, and just keeping ultimately my own voice. So it's you know, it gives me something to do when I really can't draw.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We have Baron Von DC over on YouTube stopping in to say, yeah, such a cool art style. So that's DC Horn from Once Upon a Time in Xanatopia. Okay. Dude, yeah, this art style is so awesome. So speaking of art style, let's go ahead and check out a couple of the parts from Global Comics. We have the opportunity to pull that up and go through it live. Yeah,
everyone can read it. It's available to everybody.
And while we're here, check out the pre-launch campaign. Sign up for it. We have 39 followers. I'd love to see that at least break 40. I'd love to see we at least break 40. That would be so awesome. When are you planning on going live with this campaign?
The 30th. So the end of this month, probably around 9 p.m.-ish Eastern time. So it really depends. You know, I got a kid, I gotta get off to bed. So let's gonna see if I can jump on. Hopefully I can get on the bandwagon of doing an Instagram launch live party. We'll see how it goes.
And for everyone that is watching, you can read this for free as well over on Global Comics. So here is the link for that. This is Act 1, Part 0. So I love how this starts out, the scroll down. and then we just see like the little pattern of the feet. And I love the energy. You know what I mean? You know, as a parent myself, this is something like I remember my kids when they wake up just running in the morning. You know?
Yes, I have a 10-year-old, and that's her right there. That one panel of little Amadeus. That's her right there. Big, bright, beautiful, innocent eyes, but a little mischievous. That's my daughter. that's my daughter right there. Yeah.
So big, gigantic wings too. When Amadeus is on the mortal realm of things, like how is he able to hide his wings?
Well, a lot of it is because it's the mortal realm. Like there's like mystical properties when he's in this celestial, almost like hellscape realm. So it shows. And another note, he has much paler skin in the beginning here than when he does in the mortal realm. So it all is because of the mortal realm, like because of the sun, because of the energy. There's not enough magic in the world for him, whatever, and other reasons that I am. You scroll down, you see what happens. you see it. So
I love the corrupt. Right here as well, the design for them, how it's just like a black void with the red line through it. And how we just see like it's filled, this whole entire scape is filled with them, like kind of observing Amadeus while he's floating in the air. So what was some of your inspiration for the corrupt's design? They seem so, like I said, I love how it's like almost like a void with just like the outlines of the red.
It's simple. They were meant to be designed to replicate quickly. So simplistic, demonic, you know, I'm into that sort of stuff. Well, not simplest, but like demonic, you know, the horns, the cool, the black, red, stuff like that. But like to do a bunch of them at once in one or two panels, I really had to pretty much keep them fairly simple.
Yeah. And I mean, like right here, this scene is so gorgeous. Like it's such a contrast almost. Like you have the demonic force like cradling Amadeus. Is this like any sort of symbolism for anything?
Not really. Like obviously, you know, the pure and the not so pure, the good and the bad, pretty much.
I just love seeing it, you know, because you see like it's almost like the evilness like radiating off this guy, and just like how like it looks like Amadeus is just surrounded by this like holy energy, like aura almost. I love this panel in particular. So right here was the Act 1, Part 0. And then, so who is this guy? Are we introduced to him?
You will later on, a lot later on. Well, I could say what his name is. Actually, their name is Ani, which is God. I think it's like God or deity in Japanese. And you will see them later on throughout the story. And if you see that one illustration that I did I did a few months or so ago, it's everywhere with Amadeus and his long hair, and you see this big corrupt character in the background. That's him.
I love this panel too, just stretching my wings. Like, you know, what were you doing? Innocent. What are you up to?
Innocent. Yeah. Pure innocence. Yeah. The good, the innocence, he's pure goodness. And I try to keep that throughout, even when he's an adult, you know, very selfless, you know, I try to keep that theme with him.
And like I said, I love the scrolling format too, the way you play with like the clouds and like the hellscape background and how it bleeds into one another with the panels, and just how like happy Amadeus is like during this interaction as well. So we get to see there's a big destiny, and that's why you were talking about that earlier with their plan to take over all the realms. So I love how you started seeding that in like right in the beginning.
Yeah.
And this guy looks evil. So I noticed that they both have gems in the middle of their forehead. What was the meaning behind that?
90s anime, baby.
Yeah, let's go though.
You saw it a lot in a lot of my characters. They have some sort of headpiece. It's purely because of 90s anime. That's the 80s and 90s anime. That's it. It's always stuck with me.
I love this too, this panel of Amadeus right here. So what's going on in this particular scene?
Oh, he stumbles upon whatever that is, and it has like, it shocks him because it's like he kind of feels, something. He's like, oh, this is kind of weird. I shouldn't have ran off. I shouldn't be getting close to this. And then it's just like a little bit of extra like prelude of, oh, what's actually gonna happen, like those last two panels. And you asked about the wings. Purple wings.
Oh no, for Amadeus. And so that is the end of part 1?
Part 0.
Part 0, excuse me. Global comics sometimes.
Part 0 is,
and then right there's the thank you for reading.
Part 0 is supposed to be a dream, like a dreamscape. So you'll see him come out of it in the printed pages, which is also on Global Comics as well. So you see him come out of that.
Okay. And then let's go ahead and check out just a little bit of part 1 as well. And then anyone else that is interested, the link is right there if you are inclined to check out the rest of them. So this is beginning Act 1, Part 1 after the dream.
Yeah.
So I love how we follow it. It looks like it's almost like raining blood right there.
Yep.
So we have corrupted. It looks like they're shrieking in pain.
Yeah, actually, mortals got corrupt.
Okay.
Yep. Again, I start to explain everything as time progresses throughout the story.
And I love this right here. I noticed in the other parts too, this was like a little bit, it almost looked like a little bit of symbolism, the bleeding hand.
I was actually originally going to color that. And I was like, nope. Nope. Because I didn't want it to be directly obvious who it is. I mean, we're all sitting here, we probably can guess who it is. But at first, I didn't want it to be obvious. So that's it right there.
And then we see a grown-up Amadeus right here. So what is Amadeus's role right now? He's in a palace. What's he doing here?
He's a lord, which is a title directly in a role directly under the king. So as a mortal, it is the second highest position in this realm. And you'll see, like he mentions, there's more than one king that's out there. And so again, eventually I go into explain how he got this role and stuff like that. There's a lot of foreshadowing in later parts of this chapter. And
we were talking earlier too, I love how you play with the hair, like right here, how this hair like bleeds off the panel.
I originally sketched that and I posted it on Twitter and I was like, call me crazy, I don't want to cover it up. And people are like, yeah, go for it, that's totally you. Okay. Yep,
and so we see that Lord Amadeus is to meet with another king.
Yes, another king. And people who've known me for a while, they should recognize that name, Denizea. They should recognize that name.
What's the importance behind it?
They are a family in future titles.
Okay.
Like, everyone knows me for my main character, Mitsutaru, the big guy with the black curly hair. His last name is Denizea.
Ooh, okay.
So like I said, this story sets everything up.
And we see that Amadeus is set to protect them at all costs. This meeting is essential for not only keeping our peace, but for the world. So, pretty big deal. A lot of weight on Amadeus' shoulder. I love this next part going up to Amadeus has a love interest as well. So, adding a little bit of, spice to it. Not only does he have a big journey, but a big burning question as well. So, I love this initial meeting between the two.
Oh yeah, gotta have romance. I'm throwing everything into this. I'm a big romantic at heart. So there we go. And like I said, this was originally going to be for the webtoon contest, and I threw everything in it. I mean everything. So yeah, of course, there's romance.
Brendan, over on YouTube, how many chapters of RA do you plan to do?
5. They're considered acts. So there's 5 of them.
And then, he wants to go somewhere quiet to talk. And that's all you guys are going to get. You're going to have to check out Global Comics. Or what other websites do you have this available on? Feel free to shout it out.
It's also on Webtoon Canvas, but I'm mostly putting my eggs into Global Comics because I feel like I could be a little more free with my content. Like I talked to the guys about some of the themes that are coming up, not just in this story, but my future stories. And Webtoon is really strict on what they allow for not just visual, but like story-wise content. So I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure everything is okay. And plus they're doing, they were doing the digital or PDF sales, and then they just partnered with a print on demand. That's exciting stuff, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be some big stuff coming out.
And then eventually they're having an app. So it's huge stuff. Like they're already, like I tell everyone, like they're already like this amazing. They have a lot of cool ideas to bring it into the future, and this is the time to get in and to publish your work there. Seriously.
No, absolutely. Let me go ahead and go right over to our other screen. There's my catting in the corner right there. So after going through this, what are some of the rewards and tiers we can expect to see from your Kickstarter? I know we're still in the pre-launch phase, but what can people expect?
Well, obviously printed books. That's ultimately what it's about. I want physical copies. I really do. And there's, I have quite a few friends in the Kickstarter indie community, and some of the stuff they do is like, oh, it's really cool. Like it seems like a really, I know, stressful, but it seems like a really cool experience, and I just want to experience it. I want to gain that knowledge.
Yeah.
And I want to print the books. I got prints, physical prints. I want to do sketch covers. Those things have always been cool. So I got sketch covers. Just a couple of other small things. A while ago, I experimented with acrylic standees. I have pictures of them online, and they're really cool. Like I'm thinking about adding them into a tier. So it's just some cool stuff. I want to keep it simple. I just want to see where it goes, and I want the experience. That's pretty much it. And I want to hold a book.
You deserve that experience. You deserve it, and you deserve to hold your book as well. That's gonna be so awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff, and it's keeping me going. It really is. I don't want to get too personal, but my life is always a mess, and there's a lot of stress that goes on to, my real life. So it's definitely giving me some focus, and like, oh, this is so exciting, even though it's stressful, but it's a positive stress. You know what I mean?
It's something you can kind of like put your work into too. Like for podcasting and interviewing, it could be a lot at times, and I definitely get the outside, stresses and negative stuff happening. And it's like when I get into this zone, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I push that off to the side, and this is like my happy zone.
That's it. That's what I tell everybody. Like the only thing I do for myself is my art. That's all I do. And even when I do my art, I make it very selfless. Like, people like see stuff that, it should be behind a paywall. Nah, doesn't matter. You like my stuff. You're fans here. There, you can have it. Have all the NSFW you want. There you go. Take it. Take it. I just enjoy drawing it, and I just want to share it. If I can inspire people, that I've done my job, really.
That's awesome. And I think that would be a perfect segue for the ending part of our interview. So with that being said, for anyone out there who is struggling getting going with their own project, their own passion, what type of advice would you offer them to help them get inspired to just get going with it?
Just do it. Just do it. If you love it, do it. Doesn't matter your skill set. It really, really doesn't. You'll get better. You'll learn along the way. It's about the journey. It's about the process. You will never be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. You'll never be perfect. There's no such thing as stop learning. You will never master one thing. Just do it. Enjoy it. Learn along the way. Meet some amazing friends. You know, this all wouldn't be possible without the amazing both web I don't want to say webtoon, but webcomic community, and also the indie Kickstarter community. You know, surround yourself with supporting, loving people, and these people will not care what your skill level is. I'm one of these people. You could be a crappy drawer and you're like, hey, you know, I'm a budding artist. I will root for you hard. Yeah. And a lot of other people will too, and we are willing to help share our knowledge.
No, that is awesome, Cam. Thank you for stopping by, breaking down this awesome title. It is launching October 30th. So guys, once again, here is the link. Be sure to follow this, and if you can, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it on anything that has a social media presence. Word of mouth is 100% free, and getting as many eyes on this as possible is our main goal. So that being said, it is a lovely Thursday afternoon. I hope you all have an awesome day, but most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.